Well, look what we got here. A new episode of Planets and Predictions. I'm your host, Dallisa Hawking, a fifth generation psychic medium. And I am here with Scott Tajirian. He's an astrologer and a podcaster, and he has his own show called The Weekly Transit. So we're happy to be here today. Scott, how you doing?
Doing well. Thank you, Dallisa. How are you?
You know, it's always a loaded question. It's a very busy time of year in the psychic industry. So, and I know in astrology, it's also a busy time of year. And this episode's going to be fun because we are going to dedicate the entire episode to looking at kind of a survival guide over these next 6 weeks or so. As we go through November and into December, Scott and I wanted to make this episode today, so that you had a video companion that you could go back to and refer back to over these next 6 weeks. We know everyone's going to be really busy with the holidays, and Scott and I are going to enjoy separately time
Mhm.
off.
Mhm.
a little bit.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're going to kind of just look at everything in a comprehensive space today. So I'm looking forward to that. So as everybody is joining the live, comment and let us know where you are tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching the replay, I'd also love to hear that too. I love seeing where everybody lives. And yeah, so Scott, it was your birthday. I know you had a
Yes.
lot of happy birthday love in last week's
Mm.
episode.
Yep.
So did you go do anything fun?
We went to dinner and to a local restaurant in Manhattan Beach, Arthur J. So yeah, really nice steakhouse. Had a really wonderful time together, Gabriella and I. So it was very special.
What do you normally
Yeah.
order when you go to a nice place like that?
We had the crab cake to start, and we split a Caesar salad. We both had a filet with mashed potatoes and asparagus. All like the kind of the classic steakhouse order. Yeah,
Gosh,
and then yes, so it was good.
that
It
sounds
was good.
amazing. And now I
Yeah.
think we're all hungry. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you celebrated your birthday.
Hmm.
And we've been sitting here chatting backstage, just catching up on life because we just are friends and we like talking about stuff. And
Yes.
as we're talking, we get this breaking news on our phone
Mhm.
saying that it sounds like the Epstein files are going to be released. And that's a turn of events, over these last several days. And I've been so busy working, I haven't even been like tuned into a lot of the news headlines. But you were starting to share with me
Mhm.
backstage what is going on astrologically now as
Yeah.
this announcement comes out. And I was like, wait, save it for the show
Yeah. Yeah.
because I want to hear it. But I also think folks may be interested in how the astrology is lining up with this news alert. So, what are
Well,
you seeing?
first of all, uh, like I don't know if this means that they're going to be released. It's like it's the Senate agreed to release the files, but I think Trump still has to sign it once it's received from the House. So I think the House has to say yes, maybe, and then Trump also has to agree. So will we see the Epstein files? I think that's still yet to be determined, but it seems like it's a step in the right direction. And astrologically speaking, it's just really wild because Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, is at 26 degrees in Scorpio right now. Scorpio represents uh, secrets of the underworld. The hidden realm, like who is sex. Uh, and Lilith is like the dark feminine energy. And the 26th degree is the Taurus degree. It represents decadence and indulgence. This is also opposite Algol, the demon star, which is represents the head of Medusa, and that's another like dark feminine energy, which is in Taurus. And it's interesting because Donald Trump, his ascendant is at 26 degrees in Leo. So that squares Algol and it's squaring Black Moon Lilith right now. When you also think about the fact that Uranus is at 29 degrees in Taurus, and Neptune is at 29 degrees in Pisces. Neptune represents dreams and fantasy, illusion, deception. It's the veil. And Uranus in the 29th degree is the Leo degree, which is the sign of children. So when you think of like child sex trafficking and that sort of stuff, that's also sort of in play here. So there's so many alignments converging right now at 25 degrees, which is the Aries degree, courage, authenticity. Then we have 26, the Taurus degree. The new moon in Scorpio is at the 28th degree, which is the Cancer degree, and that represents nurturing and the past, revealing the past, perhaps. Mercury retrograde is going to be at that point as well during the new moon on Wednesday night or Thursday morning, depending on where you are. So a lot's coming to the surface here.
Yeah, yeah. I just shuffled my tarot cards out of
Yeah.
curiosity to
Yes.
see what came up in that. And they mirror what you were just saying.
Yeah.
We have the High Priestess, which I also connect to like secrets. We have the Hanged Man. So all these delays and setbacks that we've had, it's like, are we going to get these released or not? We also have the Five of Swords. The fighting, combative energy. But the
Yes.
last card is the 10 of Wands, and this can be a card of completion. It can also be a very heavy burden, like a heavy load that's been carried. But the 10 usually signifies some kind of finality or an ending to it. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if the final ruling is nope or if it's yes. So it does feel like
Yeah.
with these cards that we are at like a decision point.
Yes.
So I think it'll be coming in the coming days. And yeah, I think a lot of us are so tired of being promised that we're going to find something out or we think we're going to, and then we're like waiting and waiting. And it's like, heavily redacted or a portion of what we thought was going to come out.
Exactly. We're going to see a white sheet of paper with a bunch of black blocks, covering names. That'd be amazing if it actually shows the names who are on this list. But, like, why is it taking so long? It's like, it's been years now. It's like the JFK assassination, those files. It's like, I don't know. It just feels like mommy and daddy holding back the truth from the kids. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can think we can do. We can see if it happens, if it doesn't happen, and let's not, bank our life or reality around whether or not it gets released and what's on that. But I thought the look at it astrologically was interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And like I
Watch out.
mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to talk about the next 6 weeks and astrologically what you're seeing. And I'll ask you questions along the way
Cool.
and really hope that this video serves as some kind of survival guide
Yeah, right?
for the
Yes.
holiday season. Yeah. So, okay. So when you think about right now we're in mid-November. What is like the first thing that you come to as you think about what's coming up next?
Honesty, truth, like, truth to secrets, secrets being revealed, continuing, because, Mercury is retrograding back into Scorpio. That happens today. So as Mercury retrogrades back into Scorpio, the sun is going to transit into Sagittarius on the 21st, which is Friday. So we've got this mix where you've got Venus in Scorpio, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, the sun and Mars in Sagittarius. You've got this mix of truth and secrets. What secrets are going to be revealed? What truth is going to be shared? And I'm not even thinking in terms of like the Epstein files or anything like that. This is like, boil it back to yourself personally. there's a lot of deep inner work that's happening right now for everyone, and it's coming through these grand trines that are occurring. Like last week, it was the sun. This actually, last week, like right now. I say last week because we started to feel it maybe around Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it's still lingering Monday, Tuesday, where you have the sun in Scorpio forming a trine with Jupiter in Cancer and a trine with Saturn in Pisces. So if you're looking at a chart, it literally looks like a big triangle where you have the sun aligning with Jupiter, Jupiter aligning with Saturn, Saturn aligning with the sun, and they're all in each of the three water signs. Scorpio's fixed water, that's where the sun is. Jupiter's cardinal water, that's where it is. Or Jupiter's in Cancer, which is cardinal water, and Saturn's in Pisces, which is mutable water. And that's urging us to go within, to reflect upon our past, the origins of who we are. Where do we come from? How did I become the man or woman or individual that I am today? Where does that stem from? What is my relationship with my family, my ancestry? How has that affected my psyche, my unconscious? What am I holding on to? Any guilt, shame, regret, or blame that could be released? Where am I holding on to fear of being vulnerable or intimate with others because I've been drained or manipulated in some way? So it starts with the sun. And then by the end of this week, Mercury is going to be where the sun is. And by the time we get to next week, Venus is going to be where the sun is now. So it starts with the sun, and then Mercury makes that grand trine, and then Venus makes that grand trine. So it goes from your identity, which is the sun, to your mind, your mental processing, which is Mercury, to how you relate to others and your senses. That's Venus.
So let me ask you about an example that comes to mind, and maybe folks watching this can relate. You mentioned like this intensity that was happening like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even carried into this week too. Um, I've noticed an uptick in the number of people that are getting more and more aggressive or angry, sending emails or commenting on things on social media. And me and Campbell, we really pay close attention and really try to get back to everyone, and time permitting, of course. But so I have a good pulse on what the norm is, and it is off the charts
Mm-hmm.
in this last week.
Mm-hmm.
Is this water trine that you would point? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Definitely. It's the water trine. We're all swimming around in a soup right now, and a lot is coming up that typically is, let's say, underground. Uh, it's no longer underground. It's now above ground, and it's in the water, and we're swimming with it. So uh, it's creating greater. It's the purpose of it is to create greater awareness of the origins of who you are, and to be honest about who you are, where you come from, and to take responsibility for the thoughts that go on in your mind. In what ways are you torturing yourself? And if you are torturing yourself, most likely you're torturing yourself because you've been harmed in some way. And maybe because you were harmed, you harmed someone else. And so this is that reconciliation. And I said that, it starts with the sun and then Mercury and then Venus, but it also goes back to Mercury. Because by the time we get to early December, that's December 6th, 7th is when Mercury in Scorpio again aligns with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces. So it's really 4 times that we're getting this grand trine. So the goal is that by the time we get to the end of the year, we are free. We are free because we can be honest with ourselves. We can be honest with the people around us. Uh, and that honesty comes from a place of righteousness, not from like standing on a pedestal above everybody else, but in knowing that you're doing good by one another. You're taking care of one another. You are showing respect to each other. You're showing respect to yourself. And that's ultimately what the Scorpio energy desires for us, because it wants us to be able to be intimate and vulnerable. Because if you can be intimate and vulnerable with somebody in a positive way, it's like, it's like H2O, it's like hydrogen to oxygen. Like, you get these elements together and you have water. They're greater together than apart. And that's what the universe or God or whatever higher power you believe in is trying to show us right now, is how we are meant to work with each other, to help each other see one another, and to shine a light that is supportive uh, to ourselves and those that we're connecting to.
Whew. I like what you said about getting to the end of the year and having real honesty and freedom. And it might be really intense for a lot of people out there right now, but that it's not permanent. Because sometimes when you're in the dumpster fire and it feels like everything is just lit on fire, it can feel like you're never going to get out of it.
Mm.
And you absolutely will get out of it. And it'll lead you to something, I think, even higher and better. If you're working with the energy and learning what we're, supposed to learn, I think it ultimately gets us into a better spot by the time we get there.
Yes. Well, there's two phrases I can think of when it comes to honesty. The truth hurts, and the truth will set you free. And both statements are true. And the way that I look at it is, when you hear the truth the first time, it does hurt. Maybe you recognize that somebody you've been vulnerable with, you've been intimate with, somebody you thought loved you and respected you, is not treating you in the way that you would deem respectful. Uh, and when you realize that, when you are faced with that truth, it can hurt, because you think about how much you've given to somebody, and how much you've put yourself out there, how much you've allowed yourself to be exposed to this other person, and they've shamed you in some way or hurt you in some way. So it hurts first. But once you're able to reconcile the pain as this is a part of the lesson in the bigger picture, that I needed to learn this so that I can grow and move into a healthier relationship, at that point, the truth has set you free, because you're no longer a prisoner in this relationship where you have felt demeaned.
Whew. Yeah, as somebody's saying, Joanna's saying in the comments, I can listen to Scott all day. I know the thought that crosses my mind is like, can you record some guided meditations?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of like what my podcast is, I'm just like talking for an hour or so, and I just kind of go off, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about most of the time. And then, I have notes of like transits and stuff, but whatever comes up is what comes up. And I'm really doing that to, I like to think of people just putting that on and just hearing it, and hopefully feeling a little more peaceful and clear about what the week ahead has for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody has missed that or hasn't subscribed to that channel, it's the Weekly Transit, and that's where you can catch Scott's weekly podcast. Okay, so we know kind of where we're headed with this grand trine, and hopefully what we should be achieving by the end of this, and maybe about 6 weeks or so from now. What else, as you think about this landscape between now and through the holidays, and What else is standing out to you?
So, well, a few things, several things, but the one that's popping to mind right now is the fact that Pluto is at 1 degree in Aquarius right now, and that's the Aries degree, and so it's about authenticity. And so that's another reason why it's interesting that if the Jeffrey Epstein uh, files are released and we're able to see, like, it's about authenticity. It's about who was there, who was a part of this ring of coercing and kidnapping young women for sexual favors. I mean, who was a part of this? Pluto is the god of death. It's the lord of the underworld. So transiting through Aquarius is the sign of openness. It's bringing everything to the town square. So
Oh.
the Lord of the Underworld, the Aries degree, is taking that courageous path to the town square and revealing what really went on here. Now, as every planet, these it already happened with Mars, but the Sun, Mercury, Venus, these quicker moving planets, as they transit into Sagittarius, they're going to align with Pluto. Well, where's Mercury yesterday and today? In Sagittarius, it 1 and 0 degrees, retrograde, moving back, sextile with Pluto, revealing the truth. The Sun on November 21st, 22nd, 23rd is going to be at 012 degrees in Sagittarius, aligning with Pluto, bringing light, life, and vitality to transforming the community through truth and authenticity. Then, when Venus, the end of this month, on November 30th, December 1st and 2nd, moves into Sagittarius, Venus is going to form a sextile with Pluto. So be open to the transformations that are occurring in your relationships because of the new information you're receiving, the truth. What are you learning about the people that you are in relationship with, whether it's a close friend, a lover, a business partner, or even an acquaintance? What are you learning about them? What truths are being revealed? It's like they say, and I don't know who says this, so I just say they, but it's like people will tell you who they are, so pay attention to what people are telling you, what they're saying to you. And then Mercury comes back again after Venus. And when Mercury transits back into Sagittarius, which happens on December 11th. So December 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, Mercury is going to be aligning with Pluto. By that time, Pluto will be at 2 degrees, which is the Taurus degree, and there's going to be a shift in transformation of values because Taurus is about values. So it's like by the time we get to mid-December or so, the truth will have been revealed in a very authentic way that will now help us be able to reassess what our values are and how do my values fit in with the groups or the people that I'm involved with. Do they fit in or do they not fit in? And if they don't fit in, why am I still engaging and spending time with this group if their values are skewed to what my values are?
I love the quote that you said. I think it goes something like, when people show you who they are the first time,
Oh,
believe them.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've recited that quote so many times. I remember, I think the first time I heard it was probably 20, 25 years ago. And I was like, whoa, that's like earth shattering. Like, what
Mhm.
do you mean believe them the first time? Like, I believe that people are good and they can do better. And it's like, yeah, but there's a lot of truth in what someone's going to reveal to you in that first interaction or the first time they do something to you.
Mm.
There's, there's a lot I've had to learn over the years around believing that people really did have the best interest of others in mind.
Mm.
And I felt like the spiritual community was very like beautiful and inclusive, and that people were really in the industry for good reason. And I do think that exists in some parts.
Mhm.
But I have learned over the years that it is not the case for everyone.
Mhm.
And I had to learn that the hard way. And
Mm.
that's kind of like that, the truth being painful and seeing like, wow, you showed me 5 times who you really were. And I just kept believing it would be okay and it would get better. And then, you get slapped in the face on the 5th time. And you're like, okay, fine, I see it. Like, this is who you are. And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think it's interesting the stories that we may tell ourselves about the people or the groups that we belong in and what we may want to believe about them, but it might not actually be what's happening.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I felt like that had to come out. Somebody needed to hear that today. Yeah. And then what is the truth telling you? You
Mhm.
said.
Yeah.
And what came up for me in that is sometimes you hear someone's truth and it might set you off
Mhm.
and you might be like, no, no, no. And you want to like defend it, defend it. But I think there's a real opportunity sitting in the silence of that truth and feeling it and trying to see what it is that they have said is their truth. And it may not align with what your truth is. And sometimes that's going to happen. Um, but it might be at first a natural reaction to go into being defensive about it. But then you recognize there actually is a gift and there is wisdom in whatever is transpiring between you and that other person.
Mm. Yeah, that's I love that you're saying all this because it really speaks to, your sign, Sagittarius, and that's where the sun will be on the 21st. It's where Mars is right now. And Sagittarius is the philosopher. And, the philosopher sits and thinks and takes their time to really uh, articulate their thoughts and their beliefs. And it's Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So it's about taking that big picture outlook, seeing things from a bigger, from higher above, and how like what is the bigger meaning of this? What is the bigger meaning behind this? That's what we need to ask. Sagittarius is the archer. When I think of the archer, I think of Robin Hood, and who's Robin Hood's best friend? Friar Tuck. So there is a spiritual, philosophical, even like Robin Hood is stealing from the rich to give to the poor. That's like a philosophical view that the rich are stealing from the poor, so I'm going to steal back. And so there is, and especially with Mercury retrograde and all the other planets that are retrograde, Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn for a little bit more, and Chiron, like, let's slow down. We got to slow down and reflect.
Yeah. Take a beat.
Yes.
Because I think as the theme of dismantling keeps happening and getting more intense in different parts of the world and in different situations and groups, I think it's going to potentially send people into a tizzy,
Mm.
even more so than we have right now. And so that example I shared a few minutes ago about seeing an uptick in emails from people that like kind of left field of it's just really kind of mean, like very
Mm.
mean spirited.
Mm.
Um yeah, it's very strange. And I've worked very hard over the years of not taking things personal, but it's
Mhm.
still you get the email and you're like, "Wait, what?
Mm.
What? Who are you? What?" Like,
Yeah.
and so I think as we go through more of this intensity over this next 6 weeks or so, not that I want people to manifest that happening to them, but if you start to notice that more of that intensity is spiking, just like you were saying, Scott, like see if you can take a breath, take a beat, and ask yourself, like, is there something that is supposed to be showing up in this moment through this person? Is there something they're trying to tell me? The universe is delivering a message. Am I getting it? So I always try as that Sagittarius energy of trying to ask the question of what is this for? Because there's a gift, I think, in everything that happens if we pause long enough to ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's seeing the big picture. Seeing the big picture.
Yeah, and it can be hard
Oh, yeah.
when we're
Oh,
in it
oh,
and the
yeah.
dumpster is lit on
Yes.
fire and there's sparks bursting from every corner of the dumpster, and now we're
Mm,
floating down a river. And
mm,
when all of that is happening, it can be really hard
mhm.
to see that 30,000-foot level.
Yeah.
Um, but it's possible. But it does take, I think, a lot of inner reflection. And even if you got to go take a walk or put on a favorite guided meditation or put on a song list that you like and just try to step out of that in that moment, just to give yourself a little bit of space so you can see it a little bit better.
Sagittarius is Robin Hood. It's a good time to step into nature, to connect to nature, sit under a tree, lie down in the grass, look up at the trees, that kind of stuff. Listen to the leaves crackle beneath your feet. What do you hear? What comes up?
Yeah. When's the last time, as individuals that are listening to this, like when's the last time you went on a walk and you didn't have earbuds in or you weren't on a phone call?
God, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you mentioned that, like,
Oh, yeah.
do you hear the little branches snapping? Do you
Yeah.
hear a bird up in the tree?
It drives me crazy when I go on a hike and somebody's got their music going. Like it's one thing if you have it in your ears, okay, fine, you do you. But like if you're playing music when I'm outside on a trail, it's so invasive. Like I don't need to hear your music when I'm outside.
And when you have silence as you're walking, I think that's one of the best ways to actually get perspective.
Yes. That's when God talks to you.
And so many people over the years have told me, like, oh, I can't do that in silence, or I can't meditate because my brain won't shut off. And I think a lot of it comes down to they don't want to hear the silence
That's it.
because the silence is very loud.
Yes. And that's part of what this grand water trine is. It's pulling up everything that you've been trying to ignore in your unconscious. And that's why I also want to talk about like Neptune at 29 degrees in Pisces, aligning with Uranus at 29 degrees in Taurus. That's what I think is my most recent Substack is about that. How these two planets are converging in these two signs for like the first time in like 4,000 years or something. It's been an incredibly long time, and it's kind of like our last gasp here to stop hiding from whatever's going on beneath the surface of your mind. What are you hiding from? Why do you need the music on? Why do you need the TV on? Why do you need constant distraction? What are you hiding from?
It's an excellent question.
Mhm.
But I think it's so much easier in today's world to be very busy.
Mhm. Yes.
And I think busyness can be like a kind of band aid
Mhm.
where you work, 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 or do whatever it is that you're into, and you don't give yourself enough time to actually sit still and sit in the silence to get the answers.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think from a psychic perspective that the world, Earth will create different opportunities for us to find that silence if we're not finding it within ourselves.
Yes.
I think that's coming. I think this is part of the dismantling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're going to keep yourself busy and not pay attention, then we're going to make you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
From a higher timeline, higher perspective, that can be your angels, your spirit guides, your departed loved ones helping you with that. But
Yes.
I think there's a big potential in the energy field for a lot of people to be confronted with those things inside of themselves that they haven't been listening to because they've been pushing it down for so long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What else? What else is on your radar for the holiday season?
Well, there's a new moon, like we said earlier, coming up tomorrow at 28 degrees. What's interesting about this new moon, besides the fact that it's a cazimi, somebody asked, like, what is a cazimi anyway? It's when a planet, the word comes from the Arabic word kazimi, which means like eye of the sun. And so Mercury is going to be passing through the eye of the sun. But what's interesting about it is it's at 28 degrees. The new moon in Libra was at 28 degrees. The new moon in Sagittarius, which is occurring in December, like December 19th, is at 28 degrees. The first 3 new moons of 2026 are at 28 degrees. So 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. You look at 2026, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So this is really fascinating to me because this doesn't happen every year. It actually happened last year, where the last 3 new moons of 2024 and the first 3 new moons of 2025 were 9 at 9 degrees. And 2025 is a 9 year. So the last 3 moons of 2024 and the first 3 new moons of 2025 were helping us harness the frequency to release. And now the last 3 new moons of 2025 and the first 3 of 2026 are helping us figure out, what do we want to begin? It's about a new beginning. So this is clearing everything out. Like, what you're closing off a cycle here and we're starting a new cycle. What is it about the cycle of the last 9 years that you just want to leave in that time period? And what do you want to begin to start this next cycle in the 1 year, over the next 9 years? What is that? What are you taking with you? What are you bringing forward? What are you initiating? What would you like to begin?
Yeah, what would you like to begin? There's something you just said that's like catching my attention about us being in a 9 year and headed into a 1 year with these new beginnings. I wrote down the question, what are you releasing? Right? So if we think about that from 2025, but Spirit just kind of nudged me a little bit on that one. And they were having me kind of reframe this on my paper here, because I think in what I've seen over the years in doing a lot of client work and student work is, I don't know if it's sexy or what to say, like, I'm releasing this and leaving it into 2025. Like, and Spirit's giving me this nudge of like, what, instead thinking or reflecting, reframing into like, what door are we closing?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that might seem like a subtle difference, but what I'm getting from this energy is, instead of being like, yeah, love and light, I'm releasing you, pow, like I'm just going to magically leave it in 2025, because it's going to come with you if it's not really healed and and all that. But instead, is there like this point of reflection that we can do right now, asking like, what are the things as I reach the end of this 9 year? What have I learned? and maybe summarizing that for yourself, or writing some journaling about what you've learned, in the last several years,
Mm,
so that when you are crossing the threshold from a 9-year to a 1 year, you really feel like this deep sensation of peace that's going through you as you are closing the doors or closing the chapters of that which you have walked through and healed.
mm.
Because the act of just saying, I release this, I don't really think it's going to carry the same magnitude of doing that deep inner work. Does that make sense? I'm trying to like
Okay.
put words to it.
I think what you're saying is, rather than just saying I'm releasing something, like I'm getting rid of this, it's about maybe reflecting or honoring what this has been in your life, good, bad, or ugly, and closing the door on that. I really like closing the door. It's
Mhm.
like you're completing a chapter. It's
Mhm.
always going to be a part of you. It's not something you can release, necessarily. Because it's always going to be a part of you. This was a part of your life. And you can't rewrite it to say that it never was a part of your life. But it's the ending of a chapter. The chapter's coming to a close. What is left in that chapter? What did you learn? What was the moral of that story? And what are you taking with you? Those lessons to carry you through to the next chapter.
Yeah. Yep. It's all about this inner work we're doing and this journey
Yes.
that we're on. But
Yes.
yeah, you're right. We don't always go from a 9-year to a 1 year. So it is a unique
Well, we
opportunity.
always go from a 9-year to a 1 year, but we don't always go from we the new moons are not always aligned that
Mm,
way. Like if you look at the last 3 new moons of 2026, they don't add up to 2, which is what 2027 is going to be, or an 11. 2027 is an 11. We're not going to reduce the master number. But
mhm.
when you look at the last 3 new moons of 2026 and the first 3 new moons of 2027, they don't add up to 11.
Gotcha.
That's what's unique.
So we're
That's
getting a magnification of the
yes.
energy. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So it really is really good, juicy opportunity to
Yes.
welcome the new.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like there is so much opportunity with these transits right now to really just do that deep inner work, reflecting on how did I become the man that I am today?
Mhm.
Who have I been over time? It's like I just had my birthday, and thank you everyone who is wishing me happy birthday. I really appreciate all the birthday wishes. It means a lot to me to receive that from you. But I think, a lot of people, myself included, like when you have a birthday, you're kind of reflecting on your life, or maybe even like just the last year. What was I doing last year for my birthday? What did, how did they change over the last year? There's collective work that's being done here to look at the origins of who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, and integrate it within yourself to see the big picture, to see, I had to go through those difficult experiences. I had to make those mistakes in order to learn the lessons that led me to this point where I have the ability to thrive now and grow because I have that wisdom, that awareness. Don't
Yeah.
ignore this opportunity.
Yeah, don't ignore the opportunity. Absolutely. I just got this feeling as you're talking that over these next 6 weeks that there are going to be several people that will watch this video maybe once more, twice more, especially as things in their life start happening and maybe there's a truth bomb that comes out or this relationship shifts and they're like, wait a second, I remember there is a video that walked me through like all of these things that are happening. And so that's why we wanted to do it in this format today, so that you felt like you had a warm hug when you need it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's I can feel the heaviness in the collective. I know, as I've said already in today's episode, that there are a lot of people going through a lot of hardships in
Mm,
varying ways, varying degrees. But that energy is like trickling into different pockets of their communities, which then trickle into the neighboring state or country. And so
mm,
there's this like weighted blanket energy that I feel in the collective. And my hope or my intention would be that as we approach the end of this year, that even if we feel this heaviness or like, how am I going to get through this? I didn't expect this. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? If these are part of the stories, I hope that we can embrace this natural energy that you're talking about and these new moons and give ourselves another opportunity to start fresh and start
mm,
new,
mm.
even if, or maybe especially if, things have been really heavy lately.
Lean into the heaviness. Allow it to weigh you down. Crawl into the fetal position. Don't use the your typical outlets to elevate. To be like, oh, I don't feel good. I feel heavy. I'm going to be happy now. No, 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 no. If you feel heavy, if you feel down, lean into that. It's good. It's good that you feel that way. I think it's really important to say that because like in this like society, this world that we live in where it's like instant gratification, happy, good, dopamine hit, all the time, whatever it is, sports or television or video games, like what drugs and alcohol, whatever you're using to keep that up, there is a price. So when you feel heavy, just be there in the heaviness and recognize that even though you feel low right now, even though you feel weighed down by the weight and burdens of everything that life is dumping on you, the sun's going to rise again. And the pain and the heaviness that you're feeling now is going to be lifted in a way that's going to make you feel like you're flying. So, but the more you're trying to chase that high, the heavier the low becomes.
Hmm.
But if you accept the low for where it is and not try to escape it, you're going to create more balance in your life. There's a greater ebb and flow as opposed to the extremes that we seem to be experiencing. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it does. And Jax is saying, in the darkness, the light is more easily seen if you wait.
Yeah, because your eyes adjust, you know? You're in a dark place, like eventually your eyes start to adjust.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be afraid to lean into it. I like the visualization where if I'm really angry about something, I like taking myself into a visualization where I'm sitting at a table and it's just me and there's a
Mhm.
chair at the table and I invite that anger to come and sit at the table with me and tell me why it's so angry and I'm just watching it as an observer and listening to it and recognizing what is underneath all of that, which is usually never the thing that I'm actually mad about.
Yes, exactly.
Um, but getting curious and sitting in it long enough to ask the questions, to
Mm,
get the answers. Because if we are mad, I am a firm believer that that is ours. Our
mm,
anger is ours.
mm,
And it's so easy to, point the finger and say, you are so mean.
mm.
But it's probably stirring something inside of you that you haven't dealt with in who knows how long.
Yes, exactly. That's all anger is it's and especially with Mars transiting through Sagittarius, the anger is bringing the truth to the surface. what's at the foundation of that anger? It's like that. The you hear this happen all the time where it's like somebody will say like, "Oh, I broke up with them. What was the final straw?" They just wouldn't move their toothbrush. You know, I told them so many times, put the toothbrush here, and they always left it on the sink. It drove me crazy that I broke it. But there's something deeper to that, right? What is it? What is it? The root of that?
It's
That's what.
never about the
No,
toothbrush.
no, it's not about the toothbrush. No, exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything else that's going on that you want to make reference to before we start to give our closing notes?
Yeah. Well, as we get towards the latter part of December, Mars moves into Capricorn on December 14th, and then the Sun on the winter solstice, December 21st, and then Venus on Christmas Eve, December 24th, moves into Capricorn as well. So, you know, once we once we get to like December 19th, where the new moon in Sagittarius occurs at 28 degrees, by then like we're setting our intentions to be truthful, to be honest, to be clear and direct and forthright about everything that you see. And when you're articulating yourself from that place of righteous honesty, not to be right, but because it is right, then when you're in that place, that is the foundation upon which you can build. And that's what the planets moving into Capricorn are going to help us do when Mars, Venus, and the Sun move into Capricorn. And then on, I think January 1st is when Mercury transits into Capricorn. So there's this build that starts to take place the last couple weeks of December and then carries into January. What are you building? What are you building? What are you climbing towards? What are you spending your time on? It's about taking responsibility for your time, taking responsibility for your work, your effort. Is it something that really matters? If you're honest with yourself and you know if what you're doing is right or righteous, then you're in a good place. But if not, if there's confusion about it, and then you're building a stairway to nowhere.
Sounds like it's a good reflection point for the end of the year and everything we just talked about with, what doors are we closing?
Yes.
Where are we placing our focus and our attention? Is that still what we want to water in 2026?
Yes, exactly. Is that what you still want in the water in 2026? Because the
Yeah.
waters are going to start to clear in 2026. Neptune's going to move into Aries. Jupiter's going to move into Leo. There's going to be a lot of fire in 2026. Saturn's going to move into Aries as well. They're going to Saturn and Neptune form that conjunction in Aries in early 2026. So there's going to be a lot of fire in 2026. You want to make sure that that fire is directed in an area that helps you feel invigorated, that is rooted in self-love, that thing that's burning inside of you is love. Love for yourself, love for everything that you're doing each and every day, for the people that you're surrounding yourself with. There's so much power in 2026 centered around love, but you're going to get there by allowing yourself to be in the heaviness these next couple of months. And then by the end of this year, slowly coming out of your cocoon and climbing one step at a time towards something that's meaningful, worthwhile, and worthy of who you are and the legacy you're going to leave behind on this earth.
I just heard in my ear from spirit, you are better than that. And like that being underlined. So goes back, I think, just to some of the things we've covered today about things we've been through and maybe the cycle of these years, 1 through 9. And now we're at the coming to the end of the 9 year. Um, where I think many of us play it small, and that we've just learned a system or a way to cope with the everyday life. And I would challenge everyone listening to this to think of something that would be bolder, that would be that fiery energy of like, all right, we put the dumpster fire out. Now we're just going to light this bonfire. And we're going to let this bonfire create this massive energy that we're going to be using to call forward our greatest dream into our life. I think a lot of people have stopped dreaming because of everything that has happened in the last, you could say, maybe 5 years. And again, that varies by individual. But I hear you talk, Scott, about, this fire that we're going to get into in 26. Let that be the reignition. Like if you found that you have slipped into just patterns and getting by, could you allow the rebirth of 2026 to be the year that you've been waiting for?
Yes, exactly. It's the spark. And when you think of like that bold energy, Dallisa, it just makes me think of, Jupiter transiting into Leo, which happens the end of June. This is the planet of expansion in the sign that rules the heart. So what brings you joy? What brings you joy? Like, what did the spirit tell you? Like, you're more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, seriously, it's like we can't get down. I mean, you can get down. And if you do get down, be down, and integrate that. But at the same time, like when you look at what's going on in the world, and it's so easy to look at what's going on in the world and get down about it, that to me is like demonic energy, because you are a living, breathing soul. You have so much power. And I think when Spirit's telling you you're more than that, it's reminding us that you are a living, breathing soul. You have so much power. You have a divine, unique code that when you tap into that and express it in a meaningful, loving way, like what you can create is magical.
Amen.
Yeah.
I feel like we all needed this today. I feel like we all needed this. I see in the live chat, they're doing a group hug and they're all saying group hugs to everyone. Yes. We got to be there for each other. And kindness really does matter. And I agree with, speaking your truth and being authentic. And I also think if there's enough pause and enough reflection, I think you can also deliver your truth in a way that is also still kind.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want us to lose sight of that.
Absolutely. And that's, we have a lot of support for kindness with Jupiter in Cancer, the planet of expansion and the sign that represents kindness, nurturing, caring. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go over a couple of quick notes as we bring our conversation here to a close. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, this is last of the series of the live streams for 2025 for Scott and I. We are going to take a much deserved live stream break. So we'll be back early January, same day, same time. So just when you see that, where's Dallisa and Scott? That's why we're just taking a little temporary holiday break. But it's all good. And that's why we wanted to talk about the rest of the year in this episode. I do have a couple of notes. I'm going to be putting different episodes in the Tuesday spots at the same time. There's a couple folks that are going to be coming on the show. Michael Earlywine, who is an esoteric pioneer. He's in his 80s. He is a big teacher on heliocentric astrology. And I have a chat with him about the afterlife and what Tibetans think of the afterlife. And so he's coming up. I've got Dr. Lisa Thompson.
Mm.
She wrote a book, Through Loss into Light, and a very candid episode where we talk about the unexpected loss of her husband and how everything transpired from there. Narayana is a astrologer. She's fun. She's been on the show before. Virginia Rosenberg. She has a totally different lens of astrology. So I think people will really enjoy that. Alok, he is a co-founder of a company out of India that's one of the biggest places where people can go around the world to learn Vedic astrology. And so
Mhm.
he's coming on, and then Tara Kabatoff. And so she's going to talk about some stuff that she's seen in 2026. So we're going to have a good mix of episodes on Tuesdays to keep everybody's palates wet and excited for the new year and holding down the fort until Scott and I come back after the holidays. And I can only imagine what's going to happen in these next 6 weeks, 7 weeks until we're back. But the first Tuesday in January is when Scott and I will be back. And then, a couple of quick things. We did have the magic word winner from last week. That is Nicole Stone from England. So Nicole Stone from England, send me a message through my website at Spirit and Spark this week, and I'll get your personalized tarot report created for you. So thanks for being a viewer. Let's see. Oh yeah, I created a little image on this video, whether you're watching the replay or the live here with us. I would love your thoughts. And Scott, I forgot to tell you this, but
Yeah.
I was just asking folks for feedback. So as we take these next several weeks off, your feedback rocks. And so there's a rock here in this picture that says you rock. Just a little dry humor. So normally our live streams are, kind of half astrology of the week and half news headlines. I would love if everybody could just drop a comment and let us know. Do you like that format? Did you like today where we just talked about astrology and living your best life? So just let us know, because the news headlines, as we know, are quite wild. But please drop a comment, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And then I've just got one more quick thing, and then Scott, I'll toss it over to you. So tarot and treats. Okay, so this is almost sold out. I told everybody it would be. Thank you to every single person that's already signed up for this. It's where I shuffle my tarot cards and actually pull cards for you for 2026. You get 12 cards, one for each month, that tells you what the energy is going to be, how to work with it. You also get a 5-card tarot spread that walks you through what is being considered to be, the doors closing for 2025. And then you get one overall tarot card for your theme card for 2026. And they're a lot of fun. But this really is almost sold out. There we have a few spots left, and that's it. So it's good news, but it's also if you've been waiting and you haven't done it, it's over at spiritandspark.com. And because people will be watching this over the coming weeks, if you go to spiritandspark.com and you don't see it, it means it's sold out. Because once it's sold out, the link will stop working and I'll take it off the website. So just a little heads up on that if you don't get into it this year. All right. So, Scott, we talked about theweeklytransit.com as your website. You've got your podcast, The Weekly Transit. That's its own separate YouTube channel. So folks have got to go over and check that out and subscribe there. What do you have on the horizon these next 6 weeks in terms of, you've got your Substack? I know people have been going over to your Substack and loving that so much. And you've been writing all about astrology. So what do you want to direct people to as we close out this year together?
The Substack, the YouTube channel, the podcast, all of that. Catherine was like, how am I going to know about the twins if you guys are listen to my podcast, which is weekly. Sometimes it's bi-weekly. I do interviews there as well. I'm also working really hard on a calendar for 2026. It's not going to look like a calendar, but it's going to be. I mean, I can't even tell you. It's so in depth. It's probably going to be like over 200 pages of just like that can guide you all through 2026, month by month, week by week, all the major transits, bullet points, and prompts, question prompts. How to work with the energy, all of that. So I'm hoping to get that done, soon. So I'm working on that every day. But yeah, that's the big thing that I'm working on. So
Beautiful. Yeah. So make sure
yes,
you go sign up for Scott's emails over at theweeklytransit.com so you can get those updates when the calendar is available and
yes,
any new offerings that he comes out with. And I know a lot of you over on mine too, over at spiritandspark.com. So that's the best way to kind of keep up to date with what we have cooking over the holidays. I've got a fun Black Friday thing I'm going to do. So first time I'm actually doing like a Black Friday thing. So we'll see.
cool.
Yeah, thought I'd jump into it this year. But Scott, it's been so delightful here in 2025 to do these episodes with you. I'm looking forward to picking up the conversation in a brand new year of a rebirth. And I know we're going to have a lot to talk about in 2026. That's why we all got to stick together. So
Yes.
thank you, Scott. And
You're
thank you to
welcome,
everybody
Dallisa. Yes.
that's tuned in for the live or the replay. And we appreciate you being here, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss future episodes. Hit the bell and turn on notifications. That way you see when Scott and I are back or when we have special announcements that we're making. So we've got that as well. All right, beautiful. Well, thanks, Scott. Thanks, everybody. And happy holidays and happy new year. And we'll see you live back